Hey YouTube, Common Collector here, and it is Banlist season once again, and I am very behind on getting out my predictions, but thankfully Konami has been sort of procrastinating getting us the update for the ban list, so I figured now is as great of a time as ever to sort of give my thoughts and impressions on what I think that the ban list is going to look like, how I think things are going to shake up, and as you guys can see on the list, we have a lot to talk about today. So before we do get to this, just don't forget you guys to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. I would really appreciate that. There's just tons of really awesome discussion videos, deck profiles, and stuff that I'm always working on, really hoping to get out there, as well as I just started a TikTok for the channel. I have not uploaded anything yet, but if you guys want to go be my first followers, go ahead and check me out over on TikTok. I'm hoping to do like lightning round deck profiles on there, which I think is kind of like an idea of my own invention, which will be kind of cool, just sort of going through like a deck profile in like 2 minutes really quick, just in case people would like kind of get interested in the deck, and then they can come to YouTube for like the full experience, and then also just sort of just like fun little skits or just thoughts on cards, combos of cards and stuff. So anyways, if you guys are interested, go ahead and check out Common Collector YouTube over on the TikTok. But anyways, let's get on into this. So for the bans, I think easily the first biggest ban on here, even like bigger, more of an offender than Christian Halka-Fibrax, is going to be the Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon. This, along with Mystic Mine, are by far the two most toxic cards of the current format. The reason being is just because the Chaos Ruler is able to dump 5 cards into the graveyard, and then you basically just use him to link away, or you could technically even like synchro up into Baron de Fleur if you had like Plague Spreader Zombie, and this card is being played for that purpose in like stuff like Zombie Danger Punk or Zombie Punk, or sorry, Zombie Punk Tier Element and all this stuff. So it's just like, it is just absurd, dumping 5 cards into the graveyard, and then after you link it or synchro it away, then you just go for more extension plays, which is just absolutely crazy. So this card definitely needs to get hit, definitely needs to be banned. Limiting it won't do anything. They already tried that with Shooting Riser Dragon. They put Shooting Riser to 1, and this is actually a Foolish Burial card. Foolish Burial is something to your graveyard, but I just don't think that it really does that much. So I'm actually seeing Shooting Riser going to unbanned, and that'll sort of go along with a hit that we talk about later in this video. You guys probably already know what I'm talking about, but we have Mystic Mine as well. Mystic Mine just definitely needs to get banned at this point. It's gotten like a lot of tops at regionals, YCSs, nationals, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully Konami will finally heed our cries, because we've kind of been begging for this card to be banned ever since it came out in Dark Neostorm, which was back in like what, 2019, which is just crazy. But yeah, nobody really likes Mystic Mine. People just play it as a necessity. It's kind of like, hey, you know what, I feel like I have to run this really douchey oppressive card just to get the win, and if I have more restraint than my opponent to not scoop, then then I can just get the win. So it's just kind of crazy. But then getting on to the Shooting Riser Dragon, we are going to be hopefully getting that unbanned. It really doesn't matter to me, but I'm thinking Halka-Fibrax, maybe it'll finally be his time. He did go to limited on the previous list, and it actually did slow things down a little bit. A lot of people were kind of laughing at it, but there were people who were playing it in multiples in their decks, and now we're seeing that less and less, or not at all. But still, Hulk is seeing a ton of play. Also, Hulk getting banned means that we are not going to be able to see along with Hulk and the Chaos Ruler. Both of these cards are currently being used in Telefon FTK. I just did a deck profile on that on the channel earlier this week. I'll also be doing that over on TikTok for like the lightning round deck profiles. That'll probably be one of my first ones that I do. But anyways, like and I love that deck. It's kind of fun. It's cool. It's gimmicky. But using Halka-Fibrax to be able to get out your Punk engine going, or to be able to get into your Morphtronic Telefon and then use Machine Duplication is a little crazy. But obviously Hulk is being used for just way more things. It's being used in pure Sprite to be able to bring out a Effect Veiler, and then you go into Selene, and then go into Access Code Talker. So hopefully getting rid of Halka-Fibrax would actually be able to help you know, be able to help slow things down as far as that whole Selene and Access Code Talker line. We won't be able to do that where you're able to just dump a Effect Veiler to the graveyard and then be able to go ahead and link climb into Access Code Talker. So it would really help quite a bit. And then going along with that, there's a lot of stuff on the list that becomes kind of circumstantial. Depending on whether Hulk gets hit. Obviously, like Shooting Riser Dragon could get banned or stays limited depending on where Hulk sits on this list. But I feel like with Hulk getting banned, then we can shoot for Shooting Riser Dragon unbanned. Then there are some other cards I believe that I had on here for Hulk. Maybe not. Maybe I don't. Fairy Tale Snow. If we have the Chaotic Ruler does end up getting banned, then I can see Fairy Tale Snow staying untouched. People really do want Snow to maybe get banned again, but I really don't think that, you know, it is crazy, but like, let's say obviously that you get rid of the shooting, or getting rid of the Chaos Ruler, then you're really not going to be going against decks that like end up with like 30 cards in their graveyard like how we are right now. So I think that it could work staying there. Max C, let's just get that out of the way. Max C, I don't think is coming back. As well as Super Poly. Right now we have a lot of really strong fusion decks. Right now Konami wants to sell Power of the Elements, as well as they want to be able to sell all of the reprints coming for the Albaz deck. Coming in the Megatins, and we just got the reveals for those Megatins. I feel like Super Poly still works. Power of the Elements got the new Super Poly target and stuff, so also we don't have Anaconda, so it's like Super Poly, it is really good, it's really strong. You know, there are ways to play around it. That's not a great excuse for when a card should be stay at 3, but overall, I just don't really see it happening. And then going on to other stuff that could come to 3, we have Fusion Destiny. You know, right now heroes aren't doing a lot, and also they're going to be reprinting Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. So obviously, I feel like the next most common route is for the Fusion Destiny to become to come back to 3, become unbanned, and then that will be totally fine. I feel like DPE will get splashed in things like Sky Striker and whatnot, but it really shouldn't be too overly oppressive. And then if that does happen, then we need to see Scythe get banned. People are still calling for Scythe to be banned. It hasn't been as oppressive this format as it was in the previous format, previous formats, I should probably say. I don't really totally see it coming back, but I do still see it going that way. So hopefully we are going to see this trend where we see Fusion Destiny coming to 3 and then Scythe going to 1. I think that would be for the best, just for the community base. Then also with Mystic Mine being banned there, we can also get Metaverse either semi-limited and kind of try that out, or we can just take it unbanned altogether. Terraforming and Metaverse are both sitting at 1. I don't really see Metaverse being too big of a problem because people just want to be able to get to those field spells as quick as possible. If we don't have Mystic Mine, really the only decks that I feel are going to be taking advantage of this would have been like maybe Ghost Tricks, but that would be like pre the Link monster that came in Battles of Chaos. So really, I don't really see anybody taking advantage of Metaverse. Sorry for the yawning. I just got off work and it's bedtime after this. So, but yeah, Metaverse to 3, I really think that does make sense. Going on next, just talking about how we were talking about reprints and stuff. Sword Soul Emergence. So far, the Sword Soul stuff hasn't been talked about in the Megatins to my knowledge, but I still feel like Sword Souls is going to remain untouched. So I've got Sword Soul Emergence here to kind of talk about it, because this kind of seemed like it was the hit that people were calling for. And then there's Pot of Desires. I might have, did I forget Pot of Desires for this list? I believe I did. So Pot of Desires, I feel like this will just be the representation. I feel like Pot of Desires is going to end up becoming unbanned, because Pot of Desires just really isn't overall doing too much. So overall, I feel like I can see Pot of Desires coming back to 3, and basically everything in Sword Soul staying at 3. It's won, like it won at Nationals, I believe. But overall, still like the deck, it's doing good. It's doing a lot of good stuff, but it's, you know, it's not crazy. It's a very balanced, fair deck. Cyberjar. Why don't we put Cyberjar to 1 and try it out? Currently, it's banned right now. It is a card that can spam out like 10 monsters onto the board, or it basically pulls 5 cards out of both players' decks and either puts them onto the field or into the hand, which is crazy. But it is a flip effect monster. Like no flip effects are resolving nowadays, especially if you get rid of Mystic Mine. Then I see no reason why Cyberjar can't come back, because it's like like you're just getting rid of like another big stall card, and I just don't see Cyberjar doing anything too crazy. Anti-spell fragrance. This card's not getting touched at all. This card just got reprinted as a collector's rare, as well as Astrograph Sorcerer, which just came to 2 with the previous list, I believe. So Astrograph Sorcerer coming back to 3, I think, is a total real possibility. It is now a collector's rare, so I just feel like that's the way it's going to go. Also, just kind of talking about cards that have gotten rarity bumps. We already talked about Fusion Destiny, which did get an ulti printing, but we are also going to be getting, or we already have gotten our prints of the Water Enchantress and Rite of Eremysir. Now, a lot of people are talking about this, depending on or thinking about how it's going to go. Are they both going to get semi-limited, or is one of them going to get limited? I think the way that I do see this going is going to be a Rite of Eremysir limit, and then the Water Enchantress staying at 3. The reason why I see this is because Water Enchantress is a collector's rare and an ultimate rare, I believe. So I just feel like Konami just wants to sort of cash in on people going to tournaments, trying to get those OTS packs, and trying to get their hands on the Water Enchantress. I could still see this happening where we go there, but overall, having the Water Enchantress, being able to get yourself into that Rite of Eremysir, just does seem right. It seems like the way that Konami wants to do this. But overall, like I was saying, we could still end up seeing the things going that way as well. And overall, like, there are just way more ways to interact with the Water Enchantress. So I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm thinking that this is the way that I sort of see things going. And then along with other reprint things that we have going on, we have Dimension Shifter. Dimension Shifter, people are calling out for this for Floowandereeze. This card is not getting hit either. It is also getting a reprint in the Megaton, so I'm actually really glad that I waited for the Megaton announcements to come out, just so I could sort of see how all of this stuff really spread out. Also, really quickly, while we're on this, Auroradon, if Hulk is hit, Auroradon can go back to either limited or unbanned. Really limiting Auroradon doesn't matter. Auroradon is very specific for machines and stuff. But anyways, getting back to Floowandereeze, I just saw that I had that card sitting there, and that was bugging my OCD. But anyways, so Dimension Shifter, I really don't think that it's going to get hit. And then for our next 2 hits for like Floowandereeze, we have the Wind Barrier statue of the Stormwinds, and then we also have Harpy's Featherstorm. It's really hard to sort of say what's going on here, which one is the problem card. I just feel like there's way more ways to deal with the barrier statue of the Stormwinds. Sorry, trying to think of like what the last word in the name was. But yeah, Stormwinds, I feel like that's going to remain untouched. I could end up seeing Featherstorm getting limited. I feel like limited is kind of where we're going to be seeing things. Floowandereeze is doing really, really solid, but overall there are just a lot of decks that can kind of beat over it, and I just don't know. I don't see it. There's also like the reprints coming in the Megatons here too as well. Floowandereeze has always kind of been like a semi-budget deck, so overall I don't really see the hits coming. People are saying like that the Magnificent Map is going to get hit. That's not happening. I don't see that happening. I think a limit to like the Featherstorm, it's going to really hurt and feel sacky when that does hit you, but overall I feel like they will want to keep this in the game for the Harpy decks because it is kind of a fan favorite archetype. And I just don't really know if I see Stormwinds getting hit. I would rather have Stormwinds. I would rather face Stormwinds like a million times over rather than a Harpy's Featherstorm. That is like absolutely like clear. Next, getting on into like a different beast archetype, we have for the Beast Warriors, Fire Formation Tenki currently sitting at semi-limited, going unbanned. There's just a lot of cards that they put on the unbanned section, or into the semi-limited section last time. So we also have Dynamite, Trickstar Light Stage, and then what else do we have around here? Wall of Revealing Light is also just another card that I feel like Konami is going to bring back to 3. They're going to say whatever, these cards don't really do too much. Then next coming up, since we were talking about Fire Formation Tenki, I want to talk about Drident. Drident coming to limited, I feel like, is a very real possibility. The reason why I'm not too scared about this is because like we are away from all of like the other link spamming that Tri-Brigade was doing with the Zodiacs. So overall, I really think that this could work out, having Drident go to 1, because we no longer have what is it, the Samorg link card that was turboing out all of like the Apex Avian and the Stormwinds and stuff. So overall, I do see Dryden being able to go to 1, and that would work out. Colossus, no, Colossus ain't happening either. I believe that Colossus is definitely going to be remaining untouched. He's just too good. He's a very, very good card. I know that there's so many ways around it, but like that's just so hard, I feel like, for Konami to talk about. Also with Astrograph Sorcerer coming back to unbanned, I feel like Monkey Board, he's currently limited now, I believe, so I feel like he's going to be staying there in the untouched category, just because like there's just like you can't just give back all of the pendulum stuff right away. Other things, Salamangreat, Gazelle currently limited. I really do feel like this could come back to semi-limited and try that for a format, and then when that does nothing, bring it to the unbanned. So like Konami's really been getting like fast and loose with their semi-limited section. So since this is a prediction list, I do see Salamangreat, Gazelle going here. Like I am showing that this is a very, very large list, but there is so much that can go down. And the reason why I do think that stuff will go down is because Power of the Elements, everyone knows, really increased like the capacity of decks. It increased like the amount of power creep in the game. So with that, like with how high the power creep is going in the game, then that means that like some of these decks from 2019 Salamangreat, like these cards can come back and that'll be totally fine. So it seems like this is a really, really big list. But keep in mind that we are banning a few like really big oppressive cards, and then we're bringing back actually just a lot of other cards that no longer need to be on the list. So that the reason why we're doing that would be to be able to sort of mellow out the format, make it a lot more broad across the board. You'd be seeing a lot more locals with like, you'd be seeing Salamangreat, you'd be seeing Tearlament and Sprite, along with like just everything and anything, Despia, Danger, whatever, all that kind of stuff. So with the Dangers, I do kind of want to talk about that. I do kind of see maybe one of them moving. They are both currently limited, the Tsuchinoko and the Jackalope. It's kind of hard to say, but I feel like the Tsuchinoko could be the one that we do end up sort of seeing coming to the semi-limited, or just either or. They're really kind of like one and the same overall. But I could sort of see it happening where one stays and then one goes to semi-limited. So that's kind of just where I sort of see this happening. Or maybe we'll just see... Actually, I really do think that now that we're just sort of talking on the spot, I really do see these both coming back to semi-limited because people are on Danger pretty heavily. If you get rid of the Chaos Ruler, like it's fine to sort of give these decks another way to sort of search through and load up their graveyard, load up their hands and stuff with like the Morphtronic Telephon, people who are playing Danger Tearlament and all that sort of stuff. So I do really see these cards coming back to 2. Trying to sort of speed up the end of this video because we are sort of going on for a long time. If we do have like the Chaos Ruler and all these other hits to Tearlament and the Punk and all that stuff, I really do sort of see E-Telly just sort of staying where it's at for now, but eventually could end up going back to limited if it does become a problem still, or if it continues to be a problem. Orcus Harpor, let's bring him back finally. We say this every time, but really, like, I really hate Orcus, and I'm the kind of guy now who I'm saying, like, bring this deck back. I kind of want to see how it does in the meta nowadays. Spellbook of Judgment, another card that could come back to 1. It's not, Spellbook's obviously not doing anything right now, but it'd be really cool to sort of see how this kind of card would shake up the meta and sort of see what it would do. Sort of like Change of Heart, bring it back, see what happens. If it's like too crazy, send it back. Change of Heart I didn't put on this list because I'm not really sure what it's going to do. Then we have Blaster. A lot of people say that Blaster could come back, and I kind of agree. Blaster just overall really not that great when you compare him to like the rest of like the other Redox and Title, I believe. So overall, I feel like he can come back. And then a limit onto Branded Despia. Branded Despia is just a really solid card. This card is obviously not getting reprinted in the Megatins this year. It got printed this spring in the Despia structure deck, but overall, if you look at it this way, like a lot of the cards in the structure deck have been reprinted. This structure deck was actually kind of designed to almost you only really needed to buy like 2 of them, 1 or 2. Most people just buy 3. That way you have 3 of everything. But really, like Fallen of Albaz, you just need 2. Mirror Jade and who's the other one? The Lubellion. You just need 2 of those. So a lot of these cards just come in at 2 ofs. So overall, I feel like Konami's not going to care if they limit this card down to 1. Especially with how oppressive it is, how easily searchable it is, and how you can actually recur it back to your hand. It really doesn't matter if this card ends up getting limited, and it'll just sort of seem like they at least hit Despia a little bit. Despia and Sword Soul are just the 2 decks that seem so good, but they just really don't need to get hit that bad. Called by the Grave, people want this card to get limited. Maybe I could get swayed onto this, but I feel like it's going to be untouched. It's going to stay at 1. People want it to be banned for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Like, not a lot of decks are playing hand traps right now anyways. So it's like, if you're playing like against a Sprite deck and stuff, and you're about to get hit by Dark Ruler No More and all that stuff, it doesn't matter if your Sprite opponent has a set Called by the Grave on the field. Sure, it might disrupt your plays. You might end up getting like your Albert or something banished if you're playing Despia, which would really suck, but you have more copies of that in your deck. If they hit any of your big combo pieces that you're only playing 1 of, that's just like the name of the game if you're playing like sort of like a bricky kind of thing in your deck. Overall, I really think that Call by the Grave is like a necessary evil in the game, just to be able to say like, okay, that hand trap can go through. I need to hold on to this for like when this hand trap comes along, and I can stop it then. Or my opponent has this one linchpin in their deck where if I stop it, like if I banish that 1 card, like I was saying, like with Albert or something, when it hits the graveyard, banish it, get it out of the way, and I don't have to really deal with that engine anymore. Like, you know, this card is just like, it's a strategy card. You can, like, good skillful players will use Call by the Grave to their strategy to be able to make sure that they can push through at the proper moments. And I just feel like Call by the Grave, it does not need to be banned. The only reason why I could see this actually happening if they do start listening to people is because Crossout Designator is getting a reprint in this year's Megatins. So if they want to push Crossout Designator and they want to get rid of Call by the Grave to make it sort of just seem like another avenue for people to play, that could end up being kind of bad. But Call by the Grave, I don't see it being a problem. People are also just sort of complaining about all these graveyard setup cards like Chaos Ruler and Shooting Riser Dragon and all this stuff, and then it's like Konami gives you a spell card that allows you to banish stuff from the graveyard, and then they say like this is too good, but I don't know. Anyways, that's my rant on Call by the Grave. And then we have Totally Awesome. People want this card banned, but it is not happening. It's not getting touched. So this card is going to be staying Sprite, and Tearlaments and stuff are going to be doing kind of what they're doing right now. Hopefully Chaos Ruler is going to be out of here. Sprites, I'm not too sure how much more they can get hit to slow them down. However, I do see like Tearlament getting really crazy once we get all the Ishizu stuff, and then just with some of these other decks getting this support back, like Salamangrate and all this other stuff, you are going to see a really cool format developing. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for my thoughts. I'm sorry this was a very long video. A lot of stuff to talk about. Got a little passionate and deep heated at a couple points, especially there at the end of the Call by the Grave. Oh boy. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. And go ahead and check out the TikTok. Check out me out on Instagram. Join the Facebook tournament group. You guys can do whatever you want. I also have a Twitter, and I have like 2 followers, and I don't even tweet on there very much anymore, or really like at all. But if you guys want to join me on Twitter, maybe someday if I get like 100 followers, I'll start tweeting again. But anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for joining here, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Check out all the affiliate links down in the description below if you guys want to help support the channel, and we will see you guys for the next video. Peace.